Do I ever not have a hat on?
Carl,
Only
what's
only
going
if
on,
I'm
man?
scratching my head, maybe.
Hello. Am I
There he
coming
is.
through?
Welcome.
Hello.
What's up? Nice to meet you, man.
It is nice to meet you, Matt and Sean. Uh, I've previewed some previous episodes, so I'm happy and I'm honored to be amongst the names that you've had on the show. Thank you very much for inviting me on.
Yeah, thank you. The pleasure is ours.
Yeah, I've been watching you for a few years, and your shows are always awesome. And I thought it'd be awesome to have you on. I had no idea that you had a metal background, so as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say metal is probably at the forefront of what my background is comprised of, to be honest. It's pretty much shaped a lot of my tastes and who I am.
Yeah, I think for me, like stepping into we were watching some of your stream earlier, and the music is like I think I could listen to your music, like especially your intro to your show, and it's kind of like guiding me of what your show revolves around without me even being there, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So well
Hey,
done.
like a good theme song like DuckTales, right?
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah, yeah. First time I was in your show or your stream, uh, I haven't seen many streams like that before with like interactive things and like different environments and how you fade in and out of it, like your DJ shows with like the pyrotechnics and everything. I'm like, this guy does it right.
We go above and beyond. I try.
Hell yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, you're making it happen, man. Definitely. I was telling Sean, I'm like, man, I'm like, there's so much going on. I don't know how you got it all going, but it's working.
Is it
Whoa.
does that ever get
Oh.
nerve wracking, like figuring all that stuff out and getting it to work right? Uh
Uh, well,
oh.
speak of the devil, my
Uh,
Microsoft Teams is going nuts right now. Holy moly. Oh yeah. Oh, there are tech issues every day. It's always something, right? I mean, it's yeah, it's always something. Rarely do I go live and I say, "Wow, that went perfectly according to plan." Almost never, especially when there's a big kind of show like the one we have coming up on Halloween. I'm sure there are going to be 10 things that go wrong that night. As is
oh,
the
tell us
case.
about that
I mean, that's life, right?
Yeah, yeah.
for sure.
That's the difference between live and edited. When it's live, anything can happen.
Exactly, man. Always.
That's
Yeah, I
what's great
always
about
look
metal
for.
shows, right? Anything can happen.
That's
I
You're
think it's good on both ends, though. You know, it's like I love the rawness of the live. You know, even though if you put something on YouTube, you can make changes here and there, but uh, everybody knows that it takes more than that to make it happen. So
Takes a lot of editing. Yeah. Editing is such a drag, though. Who wants to edit? I just want to
yeah.
have fun.
that's right.
Yeah.
Get it up there, put the airs in, whatever happens.
Ah, yeah.
We usually start the first 30 minutes of the show with no mics on, and sometimes our pitchers aren't there, so we're ahead of the game.
Oh, it's always something. It really is every single time I go live. I'm sure you guys know.
Oh yeah.
Sound issues and OBS is oof, it's a doozy.
Yeah, I think this is the
What a learning
first
curve.
night all of our windows sized correctly. And I'm like gonna get this started so when you rate it in, like it all auto sized and
No kidding. Well,
uh,
that's a good
it,
feeling,
it,
huh?
yeah, it is like when stuff works out, man. But so when did you get into metal? Like as a kid?
I got into metal music, into heavy music. Basically, I was born into it because my dad was really into stuff like King Diamond
Oh yeah.
and like Van Halen. But then When I was in second grade, I saw this horror movie called Night of the Demons 2. And there's a scene where one of the girls at a party, she's like, "This music is lame. Let's put on cool music." And they put on Morbid Angel Rapture.
Yeah, yeah.
For me, when I was in second grade, I was like, I don't know what that is. It's crazy. I need it.
I
Yes,
need
It's
yes.
so cool. I had to, and I became obsessed with death metal right there on the spot. And I started learning how to play death metal on guitar. And I started my own kid death metal band when I was like 9 years old. And we put out CDs. We did live shows. We played the Milwaukee Metal Fest. We were in Guitar World magazine for a snippet. And it was a wild ride. And it all started with that obsession with death metal. Morbid Angel, Deicide, Cannibal Corpse. At the time I was obsessed. As a young kid, it was my deep obsession. Um when I got a little older, I started to honestly, it was video games that kind of opened my mind. I'd always heard of bands like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, but my brain was like, it's not heavy enough, it's not cool enough. Then I heard when I could drive down the street in Vice City and blast people with an Uzi to "You got another thing coming." I got
Man.
it. Then I got way into 80s metal, Maiden, Priest. And then when I got a little older, I started to get into stuff like, say, when I got into my 20s, and I started getting into the world of stuff that would kind of merge melodic and death metal. Got into like In Flames, Children of Bodom, Melodeath and black metal, and I really just
Yeah.
branched out from there. And yeah, I've my whole life, I wager I've put out some kind of metal music, at least one album every couple years my entire life. There's a deep, deep back catalog there. In fact, if you type in Death Kids Forest of Wires, I'll post a link real quick. This was a release from 2018. Not many people know about this, but this was kind of the origin of the channel. When I made the Twitch channel, I was like, what name? Well, I guess Forest of Wires kind of works because we just put out the album called Forest of Wires. And it's a lot heavier. It's a lot more in tune with my death metal and black metal roots. Um,
Heck yeah.
yeah, I would recommend having a listen if you haven't. It's pretty neat, and not a lot of people have heard it. But yeah, that's essentially my metal background. I've made a lot of it over my life, and I love it.
I checked out the video you sent me with the girl dancing in the background or to the
Uh huh.
side to the side of the stage,
Uh huh.
and I couldn't hear your vocals at first, but then I just heard like stuck in some low vocals. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, I was obsessed with Chris Barnes when I was a young kid. I heard his so I went to a CD store when I was a young kid, like 10. And you remember the cutout bin at metal CD stores? Back in the day, they used to have a box and they called the cutout bin because sometimes there were CDs that were so undesirable, they'd basically give them away. So they'd take out the back panel, they'd cut out the UPC code, the barcode, put it back in and give it away for free. And I was digging through and I found Butchered at Birth by Cannibal Corpse censored version. I was like, it's censored, but whatever, it's free. And oh my God, as soon as I heard that, I was like, man, I don't know how this is a human, but I need to do it. And I just became obsessed.
yeah,
And then one day, I had these neighbors and they were Dominican and they kind of would show me rap music and like reggaeton, boom, and they kind of turned me on to music like that. And I would turn them on to metal and vice versa. And one day, my neighbor comes over. She's like, "Oh my God, you have to see this. One of your bands is in a movie we're watching." And I'm like, was this going to be like, I don't know, Metallica or like something mainstream or like, Van Halen, which would be cool. But I'm like, whatever, let's see
Yeah.
what this is. I go over and they're watching Ace Ventura, the scene with Hammer Smash Face by Cannibal Corpse. I'm like, Oh my God. This is people know about this other than like me and five people? Like I didn't know that this was a thing, that this is popular at all. So it was kind of mind blowing that, I'm seeing Cannibal Corpse, Chris Barnes, this guy that I was obsessing about in a gobdarn Hollywood film with Jim Carrey. Really wild stuff at the time. I was like, 10. I was so young, but these kinds of things shaped my mind as far as understanding, wow, people know what death metal is. There is a market for it, and it's so freaking cool. It at the time the most extreme form of music that came upon.
Uh, yeah, till this day, like their guitar riffs are still insanely impressive,
I
and
know. I
like
like they're still awesome. I saw them live kind of recently and it was still sick.
yeah, not it's so awesome. I think I was about the
Like,
same
how
age
does
when
Cannibal Corpse make it in out of all the things you could put in a movie? And they're like, let's put this band in there. Like, I wonder how that happened. You know what I
So
mean?
apparently Jim Carrey himself was a huge death metal fan. And when he was on set, he asked for a couple bands. He was like, "Can we get Napalm Death?" And they're like, "No, we can't." And he threw out Cannibal Corpse. And when they came to set, he was like, "So you guys gonna play Skull Full of Maggots?" And they were like, "What the hell? How do you know these songs?" "No, we don't know that song. We don't have that in our arsenal right now. We can do Hammer Smash Face." So apparently Jim Carrey himself like plucked them out and insisted they would be in the film, which is great.
That
nice.
completely put them on the map more so than they were. And not that they
Oh,
weren't, but
I know. It was crazy.
that is
Yeah,
crazy.
I wish they didn't delete that one scene that came out later with him like jumping on stage and acting like a fool. That was awesome.
Yeah, even when Jim Carrey was kind of like doing the whole, I'm gonna say like mimicking like death metal vocals, like I think he's got it. I think he could do it,
Oh, he could have, yeah, for
you know?
sure. He is very talented with his voice, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So
There's
when you
also a clip of him on Arsenio Hall back in the day, and he's kind of talking about this. He's talking about Napalm Death, and he actually does a death metal voice. It's funny you say that. And yeah, if anyone's interested in this, type in Jim Carrey Arsenio Hall death metal, and it's great. You'll see what I mean.
Yeah, he needs to be in a death metal band.
Yeah, or do a movie where he's like an old grizzled death metal guy.
Right.
Yeah, he played Chris Barnes.
Yes.
I love that. Butchered at Birth was great. The early Chris Barnes, like,
I know. Seriously. I really liked The Bleeding. I
oh yeah,
listened to that on, I like wore that CD out. I think I had to buy it twice. It was great.
yeah, for sure. I'm a
I'm
big fan
guilt.
of Jack Owen too, so that's I'll follow wherever that guy goes, I think.
There's a great documentary. That Cannibal Corpse documentary is like, that's the best death metal documentary. So good. I
Is
didn't
that
know
where
about a
George
lot
is
of
like shaving in the bathroom and shit? Or in the at the venue?
Yeah,
it. It's really thorough. Like
Yeah.
crazy. Like,
yeah, they talk about the scene and like what surrounded like what
right?
brought him up
And
and
Buffalo, like so many cool stories I didn't know, but you grow up and because back then pre-internet, you just hear shit. It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
Marilyn Manson had a rib removed to suck his own, you know,
Right.
you hear this
He was
stuff.
from the Wonder Years.
Exactly.
Right.
But there was no Wikipedia. There was no way to really know. So you'd hear
No.
stuff about Chris Barnes and Glenn Benton from DSI, like these guys in the scene.
Right.
And so to see these death metal documentaries all these years later, it's like, wow, they're actually just human. This is crazy. I love
Yep.
it.
So when you started your band when you were younger and you guys, I mean, kind of blew up, playing these big festival and putting CDs out, like what was that like as far as like the growth compared to like how music is today? What would you say? What was, what drove you guys?
Oh, well, it was great. I was so young, I didn't even understand. I was just along for the ride, I'll be honest. I appreciate it even more now, but it was a magical time. Um, compared to now, it seems so difficult because at least back then you could like get CDs made and sell them.
Right.
Now, there's no way to make money on music alone. There has to be more to it. There's no way. Like I do Spotify and I get very very small amounts of money. It's still very cool, but I mean, you get $20 for like a year of people listening. You could have sold two CDs and made that profit back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You look at it that way.
It was
Yeah.
much different. Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to make money now in music, but I guess the goal is to do live shows and bring the experience to people up close. And when you do that, there is some upside. Um, ticket sales and stuff like that. I don't do that, but from what I hear, that's where all the money is. Um, so I get it. When ticket prices go up, I hate it, but I kind of get it because
Right.
like I could go to a concert and it's a lineup and they've put out 10 CDs each and four bands. That's like 40, 35 CDs between them. And I never paid for a gob darn one of them. So
Right.
it hurts to pay for the live show sometimes at these high prices, but I do kind of get it because
Yeah,
it's
I
the only
get it.
way.
Especially when you have, either you're a musician yourself or you just know the industry and you're like, look, somebody's out there trying to, pay bills at home or whatever, do what they love. I support that by its own self. So,
Yeah. If it's a worthy lineup, some of
yeah.
these festivals are way too crazy. But if it's a
Yeah.
worthy group of people, I think just ticket prices are worth it these days.
Have
And there's
you
nothing like a live metal show. There's
Oh yeah.
nothing like it.
No. I got away from them for a while and recently in the past 5 years I got back to it. I'm like, oh my God, why did I stop? You know? How about you?
Well, oh
Been
my,
anything good?
I mean, obviously there was kind of a break in live shows around
Yeah.
2020. Other than that, I've always been going to live shows through my life. Sometimes, there are eras where the sound quality gets kind of bad, or I should say did. Nowadays, concerts are pretty good. Um, they're not too obnoxious sounding these days. They have a better control over those high frequencies. Sometimes you go to a metal show, the high frequencies can be real, like
Yeah.
for me, little
Yeah.
too much over the course of an entire night. The last couple years, the shows they've been a little more in control of that. Um, but I'm always looking for the next live show. I'm going to one in Virginia Beach next month. Can't wait.
Hell yeah.
Going to
Awesome.
see Amir and
Oh,
who
sweet.
else? Yeah, I love Amir.
Yeah, same.
Who,
Yeah, I'm
who-
hoping something new comes from those guys here in the
I
future.
know. I'm sure it will.
Oh yeah.
I
They're
forgot
they're
who they're
busy.
playing with.
Um. Oh, I can't remember. Let me check.
Uh, At,
I
at,
think it was.
I know earlier this year they were playing with Chiogos and Hawthorne Heights. I was
I
like,
think it's the same lineup. Actually, I think it's like a continuation of the same tour,
nice.
if I'm not mistaken.
I always like it when there's a band that doesn't really fit the bill, but they put them on there.
Yeah, I love that personally. Yeah, I think that is the lineup. Yeah. Um, I love it. And a lot of people don't. A lot of metal fans are very judgmental. When I was younger, I was too. I kind of get it. But I like when you go to a show and there's kind of a mix up.
Yep.
I remember sometimes they'd have like rappers in the festival and I love it. It was great. You get a little bit of a break to do something different. And then you go back to metal. Um, I think
Think,
ICP and their gathering is great in that sense. They have awesome metal bands come in. I've never been to the gathering. I want to go someday. But they have crazy lineups and if you like metal, You have that, but you got a lot of rap artists too, and you can bounce back and forth. I personally love that. I would prefer that.
Yeah,
But
I like it too.
I understand a lot of metal promoters, they are going for easiest possible segue for the audience to say, "Oh, I'm kind of into that band." I get it. But back in the 90s, it was way more like spread out. Nowadays, a lot of tours, they kind of fit everyone together, which is cool. But I don't know. I kind of harken back for the more variety artist billing era.
Yeah, I remember like it's like the 2001 Ozfest where they had like Crazy Town mixed into the that's a not your typical matchup, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Or
But
like
like you said,
the Family Values tour and stuff like that.
oh yeah, the look at like the Vans Warp tours where you had the Black Dahlia and stuff like that on there to where those, either you're a metal fan and didn't know, Green Day or you know what I mean, or
Yeah,
vice versa.
exactly. I
Yeah,
love
I
it.
agree. So I saw something in the chat earlier about your milk tattoo on your neck. What's that about?
A milk tattoo. Who
Yeah,
the hell typed that?
said, somebody
Which kind of prankster?
said ask him about. Let's see, I go back. Let's see if I can find it. It was early in the show.
Whoever said that, first of all, it's not true. I have no tattoos. I have no milk tattoo. I am addicted to milk though, so they're making fun of me.
So that's what it is.
I went overseas last year and I learned the hard way that look, we all have vices, right? We all have habits, stuff we do, and when we go on vacation, we just can't, whatever that may be, we can't do it the normal way. And I learned the hard way, my number one addiction, and I'm not even kidding, and I'm not even trying to sound, I don't know how one would sound about this, but the truth is, I'm more addicted to milk than anything. I went to Turkey and I'm like, man, this cake and this baklava is great, but I need to wash it down with some milk. Can I get some milk? And they looked at me like I had flaming dog turds hanging out of my mouth. I'm like, milk, like cow? They're like, best they could get me was an old, warm, dusty box of goat milk in the back of a convenience store out of the fridge. I'm like, no, cold goat milk. I mean, not goat, cold cow milk is what I'm looking for, but they only had warm goat. And oh my gosh, I was really having withdrawals. So it's true. I drink a lot of milk. When I don't, it feels weird. When I'm in places where you can't get milk, I feel even weirder.
Man, I can see your bone density, man. It works.
I
Well,
just had some
whoever the
muscle
heck
milk
said
before
that.
show.
It was Joy Evil. Someone outed
Joy,
us
I'm gonna get you
before.
back for that.
Yeah, the exact ask Carl to show off his milk tattoo at the base of his neck.
At the base of my neck.
Right. Maybe down the road, maybe this will inspire you to get like you could get like your face on the milk carton tattoo that.
Lost child. I
Yeah,
love
there
it.
you go.
I remember there used to be like a comic strip with like milk jugs. I forgot what it was, but
Ugh.
I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, I just thought I'd bring it
Well, we're
up.
on Twitch and we're talking about jugs. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So as far as did I see you playing a solar guitar? I thought maybe.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Love that
like
stuff.
that.
So, excuse me. I love that guy, Ola.
Oh
I love
yeah,
his
he's
YouTube
great.
channel.
Yeah, I do too.
And so when I caught wind of, this guitar company and the Evertune, I never had an Evertune. And actually, it was Merchant who he basically got it for me as a gift. But, it was something that it's game changing for me. My goodness. It's for tracking guitar, like when I'm tracking guitar for recording, Probably the biggest struggle is trying to keep the power chords on the chugging and the riffing in tune because you press too hard, your fingers move a little, and it goes slightly out of tune, and you've got to layer guitars. And man, the Evertune and locking in those strings to not budge tuning wise, holy moly, that's been a game changer. Such a time saver and just allows me to be more creative. I love it. Um,
That makes sense. I
yeah,
feel like I've heard that a lot.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
it's sick and super clean. I had the pickups modified to something. Everyone kept saying you got to get the pickups. I forget the name, but
Fishman,
great like low end sound. You can really hear it's an 8 string, and you can really hear that low string.
nice.
My
Nice.
old 8 string could barely hear that. You know, if I had riffs down there, it just sounded like
Oh yeah.
this guitar with the pickups, it's like bass pickups. It picks up very clean. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it is crazy how these I'm gonna say how multi-string instruments beyond 6 string, 7, 8, baritones, how
Mhm.
far along they've came
Yep.
compared to, like you said, 15 years ago, or more.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
definitely. It's
Yeah, it used to be a problem trying to get your guitar like tuned low. I remember
yeah,
like taking my guitar to some guitar shops and they were like, dude, they were like, dude, you got to get a baritone. It's never going to sound good this way. I was like, come on, man, just tune it low. Can you give
right,
me drop C? They're
yeah.
like,
right.
dude, it's not going to sound right. I'm telling you right now. Come on, bro. In Flames tuned to drop C. Give me that, man. Come on.
That's so true. Yeah, I don't know, like crazily, like I don't know if Solar just makes a new guitar every day, but I swear every show I'm like there's another guitar. I'm like, how are they selling all these things? And they're beautiful. Like so the one recently it was like gold hardware.
Woo.
It was beautiful. But yeah, that guy's super funny too. His
He
show.
is. I love his like when he does he'll listen to a band, their whole discography and give thoughts along the way.
Yeah.
Those are great.
Yep.
I love how he never cuts out the like,
Yeah.
when the show first starts. I'm like, you could cut that out. No. He's like, nope.
That's the rawness of it, man.
Yep.
Yeah, he's funny.
So, as far as your stream, and we have a lot of your followers in the chat here, right? Say hi. Um, can you tell us kind of how that's came about and what kind of, you know, gave you the idea for it, and maybe how it's changed, how compared to maybe what you thought it was going to be versus what it is now, type of deal?
Yeah, I started on Twitch simply to capture some speed runs with my brother. I wasn't even going to be an on-screen person. I was just going to be the one making sure the bit rate was working, make sure the mouse was working, so that my brother could focus on the game. I would read chat. I would just say, "Oh," yeah, and there was no chatting really, to be honest. I mean, I didn't even know that streaming was a thing. Like my understanding of streaming was Stickam. Like maximum you'd have like 20 people in a popular lobby. The idea of like more people in that watching a stream didn't really occur to me even on my first year of Twitch because I only focused on certain categories. I never even saw popular channels. So for me, I remember seeing a stream with like 70 viewers, and I was like, "Oh my god, 70! This is insane!" Because I came from Stickam, where that would be unheard of. There were no
Right.
Stickam celebrities. So yeah, I didn't even understand Twitch until I started getting rated by bigger channels in like 2019, and then I was like, "Holy smokes, this is actually a thing!" Wow. Okay. Well, it was kind of just a thing where I followed the positive energy. I started streaming, people started watching, and they encouraged me to keep streaming. And I started putting more effort in, and the more effort I put in, the more they encouraged. And it was a positive cycle. And here we are. And to this day, I'm always thinking about how can we bring how can we make a fun experience for someone just holding their phone at 2 a.m. or under their blanket after work, and there's like, I want to do something weird on Twitch. I mean, how can I really optimize and maximize that potential is what I'm thinking every day. And heck, there may be some updates coming soon
All right.
to everyone listening from Cackle Keep. Just something to keep in mind.
Nice.
I think that's because I'm relatively new. Just uh, I remember Sean telling me about it. It was probably like COVID era, and he was explaining Twitch to me, and now here we are. We're on it. But I will say that I feel between me watching other streams and us streaming and people like yourself, I feel like I've seen more positive than I have negative, which is a great big breath of fresh air, right? So I don't know if we're just inadvertently, like you said, the positive vibes and people are just being good people. But keep it up, everybody, right?
These are good people. I can really advocate for each and every name that I'm seeing in there. These are
Yeah,
good,
I
good
can
people.
tell too.
It's really difficult to like explain Twitch to someone that doesn't
It
like
is.
it
I
isn't part of
remember
it.
back in like 2016, I saw a clip of Andy Milonakis doing IRL streaming, and I remembered Andy from MTV,
Yeah.
and I was like, "What the hell is this? People watch this? Are you serious? This is crazy. Who would watch this?" And I was thinking, like, man, I would never do this. And then I remember I got into AGDQ. I started watching. I was like, man, who would do this? Who would sit there and play a freaking old game over and over again? What's the point? Here I am, 7 years later. I'm IRL streaming every day. I'm playing old video games every day and speed running and applying to GDQ. So, sometimes you stumble upon something that is mysterious you don't understand, and it kind of sucks you in. Honestly, it really sucked me in.
Yeah, it kind of
Well, that's
reminds me
cool.
of like back in the day. I had a couple close friends that we'd like go in the basement, play video games, but it's kind of like that experience of like just getting hyped about being there and being something part of something bigger than yourself in a community and able to talk about people that like your same interests and stuff like that. And
Like an escape,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
From
it's a lot
reality.
better than just like a pre-recorded and put together thing. It's a personal engagement and more
Yeah.
authentic experience to engage with people.
Yeah, to me, Twitch is like, if I checked my Discord messages and I've checked my Instagram messages and I've checked my Twitter gritters or whatever they're called, and there's nothing left for me to see, well, I can go on Twitch as like a social app and go say hi to maybe one person or a group of people. And there's always something going on because at this point, I have so many people on my side panel. There's always someone on that I can say, "Oh, awesome. I got to drop in on this cool person." So for me, it's a social app. It's a way to just kind of extend, I have no messages to talk, so let me go jump in on a convo and we all have something to talk about. It's whatever the streamer is doing or talking about.
Yeah. No, I think definitely that that's a huge part of it is being able to just which my personal Twitch sucks at. I don't have nobody to I'm like, I'm just kind of just noob, just digging through trying to find friends.
I know, but I was there. Like I said, back in the day, I had no idea. It was just the only streamers I knew when I first started were like I knew three or four people who also played ghouls, and they didn't have much going on their channel either. So it was just like them. So I didn't get Twitch until I started getting rated by like these bigger streamers, and I was like, huh, how the hell did they get that many people? I got rated by Wubby once by like 30,000 people or something crazy.
Wow.
I
Whoa.
was like, what the hell? That was like a game changer for me.
Yeah, that's
I
great.
had like when you get a raid of that many people, they all X out immediately, but there were like a solid 15 people that are still a part of it to this day. That was back in 2020.
That's
And
awesome.
like when that happened, I was like, what the hell is this, dude? I didn't know you could do this. My alerts were like these full screen weird alerts. And I was like, oh no, I'm getting follows every 2 seconds. No one can even see me. They were all like, turn off your alerts. It was, I don't know. It was definitely a life changing moment. And that was by far the biggest raid I've ever had. I never had anything else like that ever. That was crazy. But over the years, I've had other big raids where I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, how did this many people get on a Twitch channel?
Yeah.
This is nuts. And that
Y-
was eye opening to me. I had no idea.
It is wild. Yeah, you're getting hit up by Joy again. She's saying ask him about Xiaomi or
Zeom, is that
Zeom
my SoundCloud account?
yeah.
Zeomne.
Do you like that track, Joy? That's a pretty cool track, right? So that song Intergalactic Luchadora was one that I made when I used to make music for wrestling shows. From 2012 to 2020, I worked behind the scenes on indie wrestling shows. And that was for a girl called, oh, I don't remember her name, but it was something like she was like her character was like she was from outer space. Like all of her moves were like flying orbital
Oh,
DDT.
nice.
So I
Nice.
made like a spacey slow song. And it came out good. I like that one too.
So can we, that's a good topic, I would say. The production you're doing with your songs and any of your music. Can you give us kind of a rundown of what you're doing? You know, is it all you? Do you have people that you're working with? What do
So
you like to work with? You know?
first thing I do is I get my piano in front of me and I just put my hands down and I just start tinkering. And I get these cool melodies and these cool, and I think a lot about groove nowadays instead of just melody. Because to me, groove can really inform the song and do
Yeah.
make it go somewhere bigger. But you know, I put my hands down on keys and then I turn those compositions into guitar and singing. You know, I write vocals and pick out melody lines from the piano stuff and say, oh, that'd be a good vocal line. I'll make that the chorus. And then one, I my brother, the merchant, he's the drummer. And we've been in, remember I said I had a death metal band when I was 9? Well, he was the
Yeah.
drummer then. He was the drummer when I was 15, when I was 20, and still to this day. So we are
Okay.
lifelong, say Van Halen esque Dimebag, Vinnie Paul esque brother
Right.
kind of music combo. So I compose. He also composes sometimes. And then at a certain stage, I bring everything to him and I'm like, here you go. And that's when we start to really cook. Once he puts the drum lines on, that's when it's like, okay, now we see because he's a crazy drummer and he has a really interesting imagination about drum parts. He can make me think about parts a different way. Once he tracks the drums, and we have like an E kit with MIDI, so he kind of tracks the drums and we don't have to worry about mixing at
Yeah.
that point. We just track the damn MIDI and we quantize whatever the hell we want to quantize. And we take our time doing that. We don't just type in the drums. We have him play and we fix it up on Ableton on the MIDI. And once we get to that stage, I go back and re-record everything. It's kind of like we go from demo to like, okay, now I see where we can go.
Yeah.
Once everything is tracked, record, the guitar and the vocals, and I spend a lot of time in the orchestrations, even though they don't get brought up in the mix at the end. I put way too much work in the god darn orchestration, and I spent a lot of time on just cleaning everything up. Then we send it away to our producer, who is Robin Legion, who we found from the Joey Sturgis school,
Oh,
essentially.
nice.
Okay.
And the thing is, like I said, I've learned working with Robin. We've done 3 albums with Robin, And I've learned that I can't get too caught up on perfectionism on the way in because he's going to turn it into a whole nother monster. So if I get too married to my demo ideas as I'm sending him stuff and he sends it back and it's different, I just avoid that by not being married to it and letting him have a creative say too. Because I've learned the more I allow him to be creative, the better it's going to sound. Because he
Yeah, for
knows.
sure.
Like, I used to be more like, ah, dude, can you change it back to how it was? And he would do it. He's very nice. But over time, I've learned like, this guy is not. He's not just doing this stuff by mistake. He's, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I've learned over time, this guy, you really have to listen to him more, and Merchant too. So the more I can kind of give up my framework, and it's like an adoption. I give up the baby for adoption. It's no longer mine. The more I can remove myself, the better the final product is because I let them go crazy with it. And
Yep.
that's that. Yeah, that's the process.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think your producer, I mean it's almost an additional member to the project, right? Because
Yeah.
you're and they pull out the best in you too. You know, they
Heck
know
yeah.
how to do that better.
Exactly. They know to ask. And he is so smart. He is a god darn genius in a way I can't fathom. And working with someone that you can really respect and trust feels
Yeah.
so good. It's like you're just falling back on a big comfy pillow. Sometimes you work with a bad producer and it's scary. You're like, oh God. You hear what they're mixing and it's like, oh no, what are you doing to my song? But with Robin, it's just like, man, it just feels so comfortable to know I could send him a piece of shit song. He could probably make it great, to be honest. Not that I'm going to, but I could. And that's very comforting.
Yeah,
I
it's nice having a producer. It's nice having a producer like that.
I
It's
oh
know.
yeah.
sorry,
We were
Matt,
Game
I interrupted.
changing.
Oh no, I was just thinking I wanted to say so I caught part of the acoustic playing you were doing in your stream just a little bit ago and I was like I like that. So I grabbed the acoustic here and was trying to play along for a minute,
Uh-huh.
but we were also trying to technically get our shit together here.
Yeah.
I
But
love jamming acoustic, obviously.
yeah, I don't do it enough. You know, I go in spurts to where I play electric guitar and then I feel
Mhm.
like I bounce back to the acoustic and I find myself like my whole genre of music listening changes too. I'm turning the Beatles on and Alice in Chains and you know just anything that I feel like is driven with the melody, right?
Yeah, to me, gosh, music is so much about attitude. I feel
Yeah.
like whenever I think about defining music, it always comes back to attitude. There might be a song or a style that you want to define you in that moment. And different you might have different moods. Maybe you feel silly and you listen to some silly music, and sometimes you want to really feel like you have the soundtrack to the movie that is your life, and you want it to be something that has a lot of attitude, a lot of grit, a lot of message that
Oh yeah.
speaks for you. I think that's a big thing.
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I find myself it's funny like I'm sure by now you know like when you write something you're like I kind of have a style. Like like I kind of play things in a certain way even inadvertently when I'm not trying to do that, right? Like I feel like if someone was had heard my stuff before, they'd be like, that's Matt's stuff because he does this all the time, you know. But do you feel like that with stuff you do?
Well, I feel that performance of any kind, you develop something that you can get good enough at, and you show it to the public, and they react to some. They don't react to other stuff, but they might say, "Oh, you know what song you did that's so good is that one song." And then it's a positive reinforcement. When you go back to write your next song, you go, man, how do I get an even bigger reaction doing something similar? And this kind of compounds your style.
Yeah.
Um, for better or worse, I think sometimes you got to try to break out, but as we know from so many of our favorite bands, that doesn't work. Just give us what we want. I
Oh
hate
yeah.
when bands try to change your style personally. As an artist,
Yeah,
I
me too.
know why they want to,
Oh yeah.
but I exactly people have a style because there's a certain thing that they have the positive reinforcement on. And if you're like a juggler and you juggle chainsaws and people are losing their minds, then you're like, okay, that has to be my closer every night. It's just things you
Right.
you pick up along the way as a performer. And when you're developing your style, I think we're kind of in tune with even what our friends think, even what our parents think. We show them stuff and they kind of light up a certain way to certain things. And we go, ooh, next time more of that.
Yeah,
So
that makes
Totally,
sense.
totally.
Do you get so, you have a good following on your channel. Do you get people out in, I'm gonna say, in real life, out in outside of the computer, recognizing you? And
it's crazy because I don't really go out, but when I do, it's to like obviously at TwitchCon, of course, the regular. But like even when I went to Portland, I was surprised. I couldn't believe it. A couple people were like, "What the hell? You're
people
Carl."
spotted you, huh?
That's awesome.
Very cool. And I guess it makes sense because I'm all about retro and there it's a retro gaming expo. Not much, like a little bit, like a couple times, and it's been shocking. It's crazy. Um, and if they don't, then you make friends and you make them
Oh yeah, for sure.
remember you.
So Sean was telling me that you recently were going to try to set or beat a world record. Am I, is this right? For a
That's
Ninja
right.
Turtle. Was
Turtles in
this for
Time.
the NES game? Is that
This is for the arcade original version of Turtles in Time. Yeah.
okay? How did that go?
I when I started this whole wacky gaming Twitch shenanigans, my first game was Ghouls and Ghosts, which was for better or worse because it's really freaking difficult. I didn't think too much about that though. I just thought I like this game, I know how to play it, but I was jumping into the deep end with that effing game. After a while, I was like, why don't I try something a little easier? Just learn any other game. The first thing that came to my mind was I'd love to learn one of those Turtles arcade games. And because I don't know, I just always had a magical connection when I was a little kid and I'd see that cabinet in like a roller skating rink or at a theme park. I had this magical connection with it. So when I was thinking, like, man, what would I love to put my historical stamp on? It was the Turtles 89. And once I did that, I was like, you know what? Let's do Turtles in Time as well because they go hand in hand. They're very worthy companion pieces. Um, and so I've been playing Turtles in Time since 2018. Not seriously. I started speedrunning. And so I worked on the Turtles in Time speedrun from about 2018 to about 2025 until like the beginning of this year. And that's when I decided that so I'm currently ranked number 2 in the world on Turtles in Time. The only person higher than me is a guy from Germany who is my sensei, and he's just too damn good. I can't beat him. He's always going to be better than me. Maybe someday I'll challenge him again, but he's firmly defeated me on speedrunning. But I looked up the high score world, and I've discovered that there was a good potential that I could take the world record high score after watching everything and looking at the leaderboards and doing some testing. And since then, it's been a couple months of training now. I would say about a month and a half of training for Turtles in Time high score. And we've topped the world record high score 5 times. But
Nice.
the problem is that sounds good on paper, but before I actually go to set it in March, that needs to be more like 50. I mean, it has to be like because you got to think I'm going to do a task. I need to roll into this arcade, plant, and get it done. It has to be something that's like muscle memory. Like I can do it every time. If I tried to do it now, only having done it 5 times, odds are I wouldn't get it
Right.
because I mean, 5 times out of 1,000 tries is not that good. But March 25th, I'm returning to Chicago and I'm going to set the world record high score in Turtles in Time. Now, I've been to Chicago before. That's where they have Galloping Ghost Arcade, where a lot of the high scores are set. And last time I went, I filmed a documentary called The Arcade Wizard, where I got a world record high score on a game called Violent Storm. And Violent Storm is great, but not many people have ever heard of it. This time, we're going with the mission of taking the world record on one of the most beloved arcade games ever on Turtles in Time. So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's I was telling Sean, and I'm not super familiar with this, but whatever the Turtles game for NES was,
Oh,
that game, I felt like I was like either I'm just completely stupid. I'm like, but there's no end in it. I'd always die like in the water. You'd get like zapped by these you had to like defuse these bombs or something.
that
But
game is hard.
yeah, yeah, there was
So effing difficult. Oh my God. I was in Portland recently, and I don't know if Secret Dungeon Club is here, but when I was in Portland, me, Secret Dungeon Club, Robert Log, we had a hotel after party. We popped in Turtles for Nintendo, and I don't think I got past like 30 seconds of gameplay.
yeah,
That
it's
game is hard.
it's wild how some of these like I feel like some of the like maybe the first Mario Brothers or something like that. I feel like you could kind of like speed run through after a little while. There wasn't like a lot of technical difficulty, possibly. I'm just saying my opinion. But
I
then some
agree.
games I feel like it's just there. There's not, you know.
I agree. I could definitely run through a couple levels of Super Mario right now. Could I run through Turtles? Absolutely not.
No.
My God, that game is punishing. It's insane. The music is great though. My
Oh yeah.
God, so good.
Yeah. I actually I still have an original NES with a bunch of games. And then my wife when we got together, she had like California Dreams and
Oh, no kidding.
yeah, she had a handful of good games too. So we're always showing the kids, my kids are 18 and 15 and 9 and showing them old school video games, as they're playing Fortnite or.
It's a hard sell. It
Yeah.
is, but I don't know. I mean, everyone has their own thing, you know.
Oh yeah. There's a nostalgicness to it too, I think too. It's just like an old movie or something.
Yep.
My
Yep.
kids
Old
love
movies are
Wizard
hard
of
to show
Oz. I
young
mean,
people.
that's
Yeah.
old for me. So,
Yeah. I hear you. Nostalgia is powerful. Um, for me, despite nostalgia, though, I just love the simplicity of the old games. There was something so pleasant about a game that only has two buttons, jump and hit.
right.
But yeah, everyone has their own thing. They really do. And I love that nowadays you can embrace your own thing. Twitch is a great representation of that. You can be any kind of streamer. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yes. Yeah, we have a friend that is a musician that he's been on the show. He's actually our first episode,
Hmm.
Trevor, and he streams video games that, I'm not sure exactly. Sean might know what he plays typically, but he streams quite often. But so
I
as far as
love a good
arcades, do
guitar
you own
stream.
any, man?
Excuse me?
Do you own any arcades? Like, have you bought the actual
Oh
like for
no,
your home?
I wish. I wish. If I'm ever rich, I would love to do that someday. I'd love to get a Violent Storm or something. Oof, that'd be so cool. Now, I do have a friend. Um, and this friend, he actually does have some money, and he was in the market for a Raiden 2 cabinet, which is a big machine. And one day he calls me up. He says, I need your help. There's a guy near you on Craigslist selling a Raiden 2. If you pick it up in your minivan, because if you're in a band, you always have some kind of minivan for gigging or something, hauling a drum set. And he's like, listen, take your minivan, go to this address, and I will give you X amount of dollars. And oh my God, carrying a an old school cabinet up 3 flights of stairs to an apartment
Oh
was
yeah.
probably the craziest moving thing I've ever done. Holy moly, those things are not easy to move.
No,
Oh yeah.
no. We
Nightmare.
we
That's
played
brutal.
we played a venue that was 4 stories tall,
Oh,
and we had vintage 30 Nessa cabinets,
oh,
and yeah, that was fun.
The stairway was like a fire escape stairway too.
Yeah.
It was like something out of the Ninja Turtles movie, you know what I mean? Like in the alleyway.
Throw me
It
a
really
line.
was,
Yeah.
too.
oh, that's a nightmare.
Yeah, that's the only time I think that I've ever played a place that was like that too, that had like a crazy. He's not lying either. It was like just oddly difficult.
That's well, it's a hell of a workout, and that's the kind of hard work that I think people don't understand about when you sign up for being in a band.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot of hard work. These
And
things are going to happen. What are you going to do? Say no or like go try to
right,
hire someone? You got to get that stuff in. When you show up to a venue and they're like 4 sets of stairs, you just look at each other and say, okay,
right,
Yeah.
you have to. It's insane.
right. The vocalist carries his microphone in and
Yeah, like today they got GPS, but back then we had like MapQuest, and
Oh
I
my
got
God.
lost in downtown Toledo. That was fun.
Oh my God. MapQuest.
oh yeah, we did a lot of stupid stuff, man.
Jesus.
Yeah, you guys had me thinking about something there when we were talking about oh, and I think people would be surprised to know national bands or international bands that do a lot of that stuff themselves. They don't have
Yeah,
tech, you know what I mean? Just
absolutely.
because starving musician too. I think, it's like we can't
Yeah.
afford to have five more people on, you know.
Yeah. If you're if you're in a touring band and the manager says you can either get a huge pay raise or have someone carry your stuff. I mean, unless you're really rich, you're probably going to say, "Yeah, I'll just carry the amp. No problem."
Right,
I mean, you're doing this as a business. You're going out there to make money and when you're hiring roadies and managers and agents, you're just you're thinning the pie, you're
yep,
diluting it. And so yeah, I'm a lot of people only look for the singer. A lot of people don't even notice when like other people in the band are doing so much hard work. Now I would
oh yeah,
say drummers probably most likely having a good drum tech, which I've never been in a band with a good drum tech or any drum tech, but from what I understand, that's like a game changer. The other ones I think you can get by on.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah, I can see
I,
that.
I would always, not that I've been in this situation, but from what I understand from bands, as you said, at a national/international level, if you're hit with that dilemma, like it's a Fallout RPG, choose your own adventure, and in one road you get a bigger check, and one road there's some guy sleeping next to you the whole time and probably annoying the hell out of you and probably not even setting your stuff up right. You're
Right,
probably just gonna take the big check.
yeah,
I would.
sure.
Sorry, Todd.
I have three herniated discs, but I'm that much more wealthy.
I mean, you can't mess with your physical health, and that's something that's great about music, is that it is something that is, it's actually worth it to take care of yourself,
Oh yeah,
because it's a long-term play.
yep,
Like athletics, forget it. You're done so early. So many things. Once you hit like 25, you're done. But like, man, you look at music, freaking Iron Maiden's still going. And some bands have this like crazy renaissance way later.
yeah,
It's one of the few things that it's like timeless. You can literally be any age and do music and do something important.
Yeah, even like and to be energetic up on stage too, like that's I think that that says a lot when you like you said, you have to be in somewhat of decent physical shape,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. So it's actually worth it
Yeah,
it's a
for sure.
long-term play. So good to take care of yourself.
I I don't know if you guys have watched any of this is so have you seen any of like the recent stuff that Creed has done, any of the live shows that Creed has put out?
I haven't.
So if you had to ask me what happened to Creed, right? The lead singer had some trouble, right? And uh, now they're back together and he's doing better. And they've done like they did like some of those boat shows. I don't know what you call those, but they've did some of those and they've got some good pro shot videos out. But Scott Stapp is in amazing shape. Um, what's his name? Help me out, guys. Guitar player.
Mark
Mark
Tremonti.
Tremonti
Yeah.
is in excellent shape. But I mean, they like look it up there because
Mhm.
they're moving all around. That tons of energy, you know.
Yeah, I
That's
But
saw a
awesome. I didn't
video.
know about that.
I saw
yeah,
a
you have to watch it.
video,
It's pretty
and
impressive.
Always had a lot of respect for them.
Yeah,
Guy's an
same
incredible
here.
singer.
yeah,
Great
for sure.
riff writers.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, pretty like versatile. You could take the back line of that band, I think, and well, and Mark Tremonti, if you listen to any of his solo stuff, it's pretty heavy actually. But Creed in itself, I think, is too just different, you know.
Yeah, they always had like a metal guitar tone, even back in the 90s. I think that's what really drew me in. The first single I heard was My Own Prison. And when the end chorus at the breakdown, it's like, "Shut in!" I can't sing it, but
You did very well, Sean.
I get into it.
Filling in.
I got a Airbus voice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. They have, there's been so many memes too of like how how he sings, like mimicking Scott Stapp, poor guy. But
Hey, when you get to that level of greatness, those things are going to come along with it. That's another unfortunate thing, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I think it was just one of those things in the 90s. Everyone had a unique voice, like from Billy Corgan to Lane
Yeah.
Staley
Hmm.
to
Yeah,
Eddie Vedder. They all had a,
Very characteristic, and you could like mock them. You could like do a characterization of all them. Yeah.
true.
Everyone was reinventing the wheel. Everyone had a very unique sound.
I was trying to think too. Like, I mean, the '90s had a lot of that, but I think the '80s did too.
Hmm.
Well, you had hair metal, so there was so many different types of. Oh, you talk about like King Diamond too. Um, so many different types of vocal styles, you know, uh, and so easy to point out like there's no there's no mistaking King Diamond. Anybody
Right.
would be like, I know who that is,
And
you
like
know.
Slayer. Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. Camarera would definitely be one of those, or like a band like Rush or Supertramp or something like that.
Hmm.
I feel like very, very distinct. And you know
Yeah.
what?
So
I think some
characteristic.
people would say like, oh, that's going to be maybe hard to gain popularity because of the uniqueness of your voice, but actually, I think it helped them even more so than what people
Yeah.
would think.
Yeah. Everything was so experimental back then. And I just think that's a lost art as far as I can tell. I think a lot of people are falling into formulaic stuff. I mean,
yeah,
God, think about how at one point on MTV, TRL, which was like the biggest of the big, you had like Marilyn Manson, and then Britney Spears, and then Korn, and then DMX, and then Backstreet Boys. Like it was a crazy mix. Kids were just all over the place musically back then.
yeah.
Yeah,
I can't imagine we're ever gonna see that again.
Yeah, lots of the problem now today is the
true.
algorithm because the algorithm also knows the formula that's popular. And so, like, when you hear a band that's like, wow, they're actually authentic, and I haven't heard anything like this, it's going to be harder to find that band.
Yeah, true.
There's a band that came out like 2 years, 3 years ago called Earthside. And if you ever get a chance, check them out. They're they're awesome, but very different sounding. Almost sound like I don't even know. Like if you took like the Smashing Pumpkins, the Cranberries, and like a mirror and like put them all into one. It's like very melodic. All the guitar players do a really phenomenal job with like arpeggios and scales, but at the same time
Mm.
keep it simple. And there's like synth going in the background, and even sounds like the Mars Volta at times. Really, really wild.
I agree.
So I wanted to ask you, what would you say has been your bigger hurdles doing what you do?
Um, I just hate that there's not enough time. I want
Right.
to do more. I want to stream more. I want to make more stuff. That's the only thing stopping me. Everything else is fine.
Same.
I could
Everything
see
else
that.
is just,
That's a good one.
we all have real life problems, obviously. And like, you got to pay your bills and do your laundry and blah, blah, blah. Family, we all have stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I just wish I could do more. And I hate when I feel like I haven't given it my absolute all. And but when I do, eventually I will make up for it. Um I hate that I have to take time off sometimes. Like if I make a new lore video, I got to take time off to film and to edit and do all this stuff. I hate that. I wish I had two of me, one that could always stream and one that could always edit and film. Sucks, but I just do all I can. That's it. I just hold on tight and do everything I can. And luckily I do have my brother. My brother's very helpful. And he gives a lot of great input and helps out a lot.
Is
He
that
does a
your
lot of
brother
post
on the
production too.
drums?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, merchant. Yeah.
It's funny. I Google searched you
Uh-huh.
last week, and it talks about merchant, but it nowhere says that it's your brother.
Well,
Which I thought was funny. I was like, oh, I mean, with you telling me now, you know.
he's not. He's
Oh, okay. But
in
he's your
s-
brother. I
in
got it. I
real
got
life he is, but in storyline he's just some guy I met in the woods.
right, right. Okay. Well, you got Google f fooled out of that. That's
I
funny.
know. Isn't that great? I can shape its perception of me by putting out strange things that aren't true.
Right. Yeah. With the streaming thing, like you're saying, I think even for us, I feel the same way, um, because we enjoy doing what we do, right?
Mm,
And I think there's never a time to where like I don't think people realize, and people do, but some people may not realize the work that goes into it when it's like, hey, Carl comes on this day every week, and Carl has the flu, but he's still on. You know what I mean? You push
hmm
through, and I guarantee there's the majority of your following out there that are like, we really appreciate that, Uh, and then to the person that doesn't know what it takes to be an influencer or whatever it may be, maybe it's musician, maybe you're a newscaster or something, but the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into the back project in committing, no matter what uh, how you're feeling that day or what you
hmm
got going on or making the time, like you said.
I
So,
just feel, I always only ever wanted an opportunity. That's all I ever asked for. And over my life, I never really got one. I just wanted a chance to show an audience what I could do. Twitch has been that opportunity. And gosh, getting that chance and having the opportunity to show people what's in my imagination. And the fact that they've stuck around and supported and you know, people like Amy J and Rhythm Maker have stuck around and really believe in this, I feel like I owe them big time, majorly. So what, you know, say you're having a rough day, you're like, oh man, I can't go live, but I have to. What I'm thinking is, you know, listen, Amy J, as silly as this might sound, because I know Amy J, for example, would probably say, don't worry about it, just rest up, it's fine. Like if I were having a rough day, I'm thinking, listen, Amy J might be having a rougher one. Amy J and Rhythm Maker, they might be looking for a party tonight. And there
Right.
may not be as good of a one on their side panel. So I've got to deliver and I've got to give them their value because they've supported me. I owe them. I really
Right.
do. I owe them so much value. And I don't know if I'll ever feel satisfied and being like, man, I paid them back with effort. I don't know if I ever can, but I'm gonna sure as heck try.
Yeah, that I think that's a good way to put it. I think everybody has um something they may want to an interest that maybe just clears their mind for the day, or you know, maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's, they're showing somebody that's never seen anything like this before, and they're going to be the next influencer of the century, and they missed that one day that you just might not have been there or something, so it all matters, right?
Every single day going live or pursuing the thing that you love, every single time you step out the door or click go live, it's like a crazy lottery ticket I've found. And you
Yep.
could go a long time. I could go a long streak of streams without getting like a certain amount of traction or growth. But it gets addicting because every single day is a chance. And when you do get those hits, like boom, you know, like an awesome new chatter joined or a crazy stream where people actually kicked in, that gets, it's so crazy and sporadic. And again, like addictive. Like, wow, this can happen at any time. So every day when I wake up, I'm like, you know, like, let's see what we can hit. You know, let's go live. And you never know, maybe we get rated by Wubby again with 30,000 people. That could happen at any time.
Right.
And, you know, just like real life, you walk down the street, you could meet, you know, the A&R guy from a big label, and he says, I'm looking to sign a band. And you're like, hi, I'm Carl. I have Wizard Metal. Here's my Spotify. That could happen at any time. If you're pursuing things and with your peers and doing things the right way, that stuff can just happen and it gets addictive for me. It really does. So I love pursuing it. It's another thing that drives me. And another thing I love about meeting people in person. These IRL meetups are great.
Yeah. No, it's really something for sure. Is there anybody that sticks out to you, that from the first handful of times you streamed, that you feel like has been in the chat every time, still there?
Mm, I mean, everything is cyclical, I think. You know, there are cycles. People come around for a while. I'm the same way. Sometimes I get really
Oh
into a YouTuber for like a couple months and I watch their stuff constantly. Then I just stop. And then I come back next year and I watch it again and again and again, all
yeah.
the
Yep.
same videos. And I think that's normal for a lot of chatters. So I can't honestly say there's someone that's been there the whole time. But there are definitely people, and the names that I'm just going to list off are like Owl Tears has been basically with us the whole time, and I cherish Owl Tears. Um,
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I agree with you. I do the same thing. I
yeah,
watch somebody, like you said, a YouTuber or something, and then I might get away. But I'm never. It's never. It's due to just life. It's not due to like, you know,
exactly. You're
whatever.
not saying I'm
Yeah.
not a fan of yours anymore. I'm going to unfollow. You just get
Right.
into other stuff for a minute and then you come back later. You're still a fan.
Yes. Yep. And then you get the people too that they might just bounce in and out of your stuff throughout the week, you know, just here and there, but they're there, you know.
Yeah. And a lot of people just lurk, which is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's hard to fathom that until you really meet someone in person and you're like, huh, do you really watch? And they know their stuff.
Right.
They know exactly what you do and all your stories. And like, oh, you do lurk. Okay. And it's pretty eye opening. And it's another thing that drives me is to remember that Twitch streaming is about the chat, but there's a whole nother world out there that may be consuming this content. And you have to appeal to everyone and every possibility, For example, maybe this podcast discussion we're having right now is heard by aliens 1,000 years in the future as they're going through the remnants of Earth.
Yeah.
You never know. So we have to speak in a way that those dang aliens are going to get something out of this.
Yeah, reverse course,
Yeah.
go back in time, pick me up, let's get the hell out of here.
Right. I didn't sign up for this. No.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
funny.
Going back to what you were saying about time, I can really relate to that. Like during the day at work as a draftsman, from like 8 a.m. till like 5:30, and over the course of the last 8 years, I've been getting into audio production and writing material and stuff, and it's just like there's never enough time, and it seems like when there is that pocket of time, it goes from like 5:30 to 12 o'clock, and like it feels like an hour and a half, and you're just sitting there like I got so much
Yep.
more to do, and like what my yeah.
And you're tired from your other duties. And oh my God, I hate it. I really hate it. I wish I had more time or could just stop time for like a week. But it's constantly flowing and it's undefeated. There's no fighting it.
Nope. Older you get, the faster it goes too.
Yes, true. Years
Oh, big
feel
time.
like months.
Amy had a good question for you. She had, what made Carl be the character rather than himself?
So when I started streaming on Twitch, I used to do many characters. Well, first of all, I started streaming on Twitch just as myself and nobody watched. I mean, I was just another guy doing Morrowind runs. But then I started doing character stuff. Like if I played a wrestling game, I'd wear a wrestling mask and come up with a wrestling character and actually try to convince the few people that would drop in chat that I was a wrestler. Or, if I played Sim City, I would actually pretend like I was into politics and I wanted to be the mayor. And if I played, Ultima Online, which is a fantasy game with a wizard, I would become a wizard and become like this. And lo and behold, Ultima Online is really where things started picking up for me. And that's when I started getting actual traction. And I just bit down into it more. People loved it more. And I followed the positive energy. Had people discovered me when I was the wrestler, or I was the politician character, or I was anything else of these other weird characters, I could be sitting here doing a whole nother gig. But I just, like we were talking about earlier about finding your style, you put out creative ideas and people pick up on things and they demand things. I couldn't stop playing Hot Drinks, the Wendy's song. I have to keep playing that. I have to keep playing Pump It Up. If I don't, it's going to feel wrong. It's going to feel incomplete because these are just things that make people happy. You know, people join chat and they say, play Hot Drinks. Well, I have to. Why wouldn't I? Why would I deprive someone of that? And if they want the wizard, and it just was a slow and steady thing. I stopped doing any other kind of streams and I just started doing more wizard streams. And then you just learn, how do I optimize my live stream every time I click go live? Well, do this, 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 and this, and be a wizard, have an interactive world, pump it up, hot drinks. So I go live and I do them all to the best of my ability.
Have you ever thought of just throwing everybody for a curveball and coming on as one of the previous characters before the wrestler comes on? They're like, "What? Who is this guy?"
Yeah. Yeah, I have. I definitely have.
I think, I think,
Or even just as myself could be,
yeah,
you never know.
I like the
yeah,
little
for sure.
skits that you guys do. They're usually like 5 to 10 minutes long. Of like in the castle, the dungeon, and your characters and puppets that you come up with. That's really cool. Uh,
Yeah. And that again, I made one on a whim and the plan was just to make one. But people loved it so much and they kept asking questions like what happened to this guy? What happened to that goblin? Well, what's next for that dog?
what have I done?
Yeah, so then I had to do, and then the idea was, well, episode 2, that's going to be the definitely the last one. Like we had end credits, we had a big wrap up story and everything. And then it was like, okay, well now people really want a third one. And my when I got to the third one, my idea was actually, when you watch a movie series and the first one's the best, the second one is okay, and the third one's a piece of shit. I was like, let's make a piece of shit one. Let's make one that's bad for fun. Let's do the stupidest choices. Instead of trying to be epic and like serious, let's just do the dumbest things we can think of. So we were like, how about the dogs talk? Okay, now the dogs talk. We'll have them just have some stupid voices and be like, hi. And then, what if we have characters that aren't even medieval? We just have guys in a band. We have the whole story arc of these two guys in a death metal band, and they hate each other. They're breaking up, and they're making up, and they're stealing each other's riffs and stealing each other's band names. And so we did a whole story arc like that. It was just like, let's do the dumb one. And what's crazy is people then really took to the dumb one more than the
Really.
others. Lo and
Yeah,
behold, they wanted the dumb one.
I had a
And that made me think, okay, well, now let's just nowadays when I make the lore videos, I do try to make them epic because I think the best ones are the epic ones, but they're still very, very silly. They're a big mishmash of silliness and seriousness at this point. But there was a time where the lore videos were very, very silly. And people loved it. They couldn't get enough. So, but as I said, since then they're weaving roads. People like more epic stuff over time. And now we're at a fun point, and the next lore video is going into production. I'm doing pre-production now. It's going to go into production in November, and it's going to be a real doozy. It's going to be very, very different and odd, and I think everyone whose name I see here, like Kaloha and Amy and Pharaoh and Low Earth Orbit and Titan, I think they're in for a real, real interesting time. I can't give spoilers, but this is probably going to be the most important lore video ever. I mean, the story it's 7 years deep now. We have to do something that's going to be really spectacular. So expect it 2026. Wizards.
nice. Thank you for this.
Do you
I
do
mean,
you ever
the
have a
follow.
hard time keeping up with all that? You know? Sorry,
A
Sean.
hard
Froze
Say it
up.
again.
Do you ever have a hard time keeping up with just the storyline over the years and the different things you've done? And
You know what? This is going to sound silly, but I'm so deep into the writing in my head that it's like real life to me. So when I'm
right,
writing, I know like this person's motivated by this. This happened, and I see the characters fully. I know Gary the Goblin has been through this, 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 and this.
right.
So I don't have trouble keeping up. I've never had like a conflicting story, like a plot hole, luckily.
Yeah.
But
That's cool though. That just shows your commitment.
yeah, it's I love storytelling. And something I love about storytelling is that people want to know what's next. And when I was a kid, it drove me nuts when I'd watch a sequel and it had nothing to do with the first one. But if it was a direct continuation, I was so happy. So I love to adhere to the idea that the storylines matter that when you see a new episode, it's gonna make sense and it's gonna move things forward in some direction, and there's gonna be some kind of payoff to where you go, oh, that's what that meant, or that's where that was going. Because when I was a kid and that didn't happen, I was so angry.
Right.
So I try to adhere to that as much as I can and to really have payoffs and give people a reason to pay attention.
Do you have anybody besides your brother that you bounce ideas off of, kind of like a go-to person, or pretty much
No, just my
guys?
brother.
Yeah, that's cool.
Just my brother because I
Me too.
trust him completely. I don't trust. I'm very bad with trust creatively. Like I said, working with Robin Legion, who is a genius, took me a long time to get over my ego with music production with him. And with writing, I feel even more protective and I wouldn't trust anyone but Merchant, to be honest. It just wouldn't make sense. I would trust Merchant and Gromulus. That's it. There's
No,
no
that
one
makes
else
sense.
that I would really be interested in allowing their thoughts into how the world is going to play out because like I said, the world is like existing here. I have like a I know everything's going on. So bringing in outside ideas would just muddy the waters. And I do hear ideas though, like people will like I definitely if people say they love a character, I might have had plans to have that character go away, but I'll bring him back. So I do listen. It's not
Yeah, that's cool.
completely on my own, but when it comes time to type out that script, it would just be me and I would send it to Merchant and that's about it.
That's good
Safety.
though. You gotta, you have a close group that you can work with and it's fail safe, right? So
Yeah, it's a trust thing. It's
yeah,
so hard to trust people creatively for me. I mean, I can't.
yeah, for sure. You
I was
had
the same
another
way in
question here.
bands when I was growing up. I had to be the songwriter and I would try to bring others into the songwriting and I it just became more work to fix things and make sense of things and so yeah, and this is not a good thing. This is maybe an ego thing, but I tend to creatively need to have a strong leash on the main direction. I can more easily pull in side stuff, decorations. But the main thing I feel I need to have some kind of grip over. Musically, like I said, it's easy for me to let go now after learning the past couple of years. But creatively, writing wise, yeah, only Merchant.
Okay. There was another question I just saw from,
Yeah,
yeah, so Amy J also asked you, do you see it there? If you ever get tired of playing the Beer Grudge character and your streams are so energetic, I wouldn't be able to do it. So what do you do on your bad days?
On my bad days, you uplift them, Amy. That's the truth. On my bad days, I do whatever I can to hit the go live button because I know that once I get into the main room of Cackle Keep and we start talking, that it's going to be so much pleasant and positive energy that I I won't I won't have space for my bad feelings anymore. I'm not interested in spreading negative energy. There's so much of it. We all have plenty of it. I'm interested in hearing about others if it helps them, but I'm way more interested genuinely in doing a show that ultimately gives people positive energy or happiness or fun or a laugh. I will likely never be a streamer that talks about serious issues or talk about something that's going to be depressing. I sometimes I find myself, especially this time of year, you start veering into stuff like, you know, you there are horrible stories about stalkers and murders and scam artists involving Twitch and conventions and it's easy to indulge those things and I do that on my alt channel a little bit lately, which is interesting. It's unlike me. It's odd. But on the Forest of Wires channel, I want to offer people the I have this expression that I say to myself. You ever go through life and you see something or you say to yourself, why isn't the world more like this? Why don't they do it like this more? For example, maybe you heard a recording of a band and you're like, it's good, but dang it, why don't they do old school production like the 90s and have real drums instead of MIDI? If that's you, then in my opinion, the universe is directly communicating that you need to do it. You need to get a band together. You got to get 90s production and not use MIDI. And for me, when I look at Twitch and I look at the top streamers and I look at the general market, I see a lot of misery. See a lot of people banking on bad things happening and gossip and people being sad and drama. And I wish the world had more of that 90s MTV Eureka's Castle Saturday morning pure fun, pure silliness. Back when, you'd be made fun of if you watched anything about the government, let alone obsess about it. That's the kind of energy I want to bring.
Yeah.
And that really drives me because on my bad days, I believe the more of that energy I can put onto the world, the better. Music, jokes, silliness, fun, old video games, bad video games. The feeling of, again, Saturday morning, Nickelodeon, Nick Arcade kind of vibe. Hey, let's go play
Yeah.
some. God, I
Yeah.
loved the production style back then. It was so fast paced and in your face, and it was short form. And I love trying to bring that energy. That's what I thrive on, and that's what makes me happy. And I know that for a fact because back in the old days, I didn't do that. I used to kind of stream what the audience wanted me to stream, and I hated it. I quit. Couldn't do it. Now I do exactly what I want. I spread the exact energy I want. I support the exact causes that I want and the exact kind of morals. Not that there's morals, but I'm not trying to I'm not I'm I'm just trying to make it like Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make it like I know anything. I don't want anyone watching to ever feel like I'm someone to look up to or they should listen to my opinion on serious things and copy me. And I feel so much of Twitch is people with the ego that that's what they're trying to get out of it. I want anything but that. So I try to be self-deprecating and be the victim and let people slap me around and honk my nose and kind of cherish my losses and kind of play along in a fun way so that I don't because I don't want to be someone that people say this guy's probably right about stuff. Don't listen to me. Go listen to your parents or someone. I don't know. I'm just some guy on Twitch. So I want to bring that Pee Wee's Playhouse energy because when I think of Pee Wee's Playhouse, I don't remember him trying to make me think anything.
No.
Hey, who did that? I remember just people doing whatever they could to entertain you and make you have fun. Action packed start to finish so that you walked away dizzy, like, whoa, what just happened? That was so crazy. That's my dream. Offer that kind of experience in place of serious talk. There's enough.
Yeah.
Well,
You're,
well put. I think that
gonna get me tearing up
sums
here,
up.
man.
Yeah, that
Oh,
honestly though, that sums up I think the whole world needs more of that. Great
yeah.
reference too with Pee Wee's
Some
Playhouse. I'm a huge Pee
some
Wee
people
fan.
might love that stuff. Some people might really thrive on politics. All the power to them. It's just not for me, and I don't want to. I want to put out good, fun energy and make people just crowd surf with each other and laugh and just be dum dums with each other. Let's
Yep.
embrace being dumb a little more. Too much
Yep.
Totally.
intellectualism on Twitch, I think.
Oh yeah, for
Totally.
sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's working, man. You know, I think we just gotta spread it, right?
I I feel, for me, I just go live. I honestly, I don't look at numbers much. I just, the what I think about as far as you seeing spreading, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe I get bigger, maybe not. Maybe I've already seen the peak of my streaming. I don't know. What I can control and what I do know is when I wake up, I have certain energy levels. And when I have that right energy level, something just happens. I go live, and if I can go long enough, something good will happen.
Oh
And
yeah.
s- and so it's just been such a fun journey. It's kind of like, you ever have an RPG or a game that you're so obsessed with, you play it all night until you're passing out, you wake up and you sit back down like, "Oh, yes, where did I leave off?" That's how I see streaming. I
Right.
stream, I pass out, I wake up, I sit down at my desk, I'm like, "Oh, let me be the wizard again and go live, see what happens, see who's still here, you know, see who comes back for day 2, see who, will Amy J remember who I am today? Will K Aloha still give me a chance? Will Joy Evil drop in? Again, it's like an RPG every day. I don't know where it's going to go, and it's so fun. I might have some of my favorite people of all time drop in. Those things that's again makes it addictive. You want to just keep trying.
Yep. And I agree. I don't the numbers don't matter. They never will, as far as I'm concerned. I think Sean can vouch for that too. It's just about we like to talk to people, and we had talked a long time about doing something like what we do now, and here we are, and wherever it goes, cool. And if it don't, if we, it's just three people in a on the show and we have one person in the chat, I'm completely happy with that too. You know, I just want to be able to reach out and meet new people like yourself, meet new people like your followers, our followers that are in the chat, and
I hear you. This is
it's
also
just good
evergreen
people.
content though, so this
Yeah,
is gonna live on. You can upload this wherever, and as you
yeah,
know, you
for
got a whole
sure.
show going. So,
No, I think and that's what I meant by this by spreading it. It's just the positive vibe, like you're saying,
hmm
as a whole, I think is a good thing, right? We need more of that in the
uh,
world.
and I'm so thankful that I get to come on a show like this and discuss that and share that and relate about it. So thank
Yeah.
you.
Oh, the pleasure's ours. Like I said in the beginning, we're glad to have you. Um, yeah, I think yeah, this might be a good spot to wrap it up here, fellas. What are you thinking?
That was a great talk. Thank you guys so much for having me on. I hope everyone here is freaking following, and not just here, but on the YouTube, and supporting. Thank you all so much for sticking through. This was a great night.
Yes, was a great night for sure. And like I said, pleasure meeting you. I will definitely be keeping up with what you got going on and looking forward to anything coming from the future of your work. So props to you.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Good luck with
everybody.
the show, guys. I'm loving it.
Thanks
Yeah, thanks
everyone
a
that
lot.
stuck
Appreciate
around,
you.
and thank you for the follows. We really appreciate it, and stop by anytime. We'll be here. Have a great night, y'all. Bye.
Thanks a lot.